Hello and welcome back to the next session of zoology by me, Pooja Joshi. We shall be today continuing with the body fluids and circulation. And as in the previous session, we have completed until the thrombosis, which is with respect to the blood clotting or blood coagulation. Coming to the next part of this chapter, we shall now study about the heart, okay, in details about different functionalities of the heart, everything, the physiology and anatomy of heart. Before that, let's see what types of hearts are present in lower organisms, okay. So we can see that there is image of honeybee given here, okay. We can see that it is a tubular structure with openings called as the ostia. These are the openings in the heart, okay, and you can see that the heart is in tubular form. How does it exactly function? Okay, in the previous session we have seen that arthropods exhibit open type of circulatory system, okay. So the blood that is present in this is removed out of the there are connectivities here, branches, through which the blood is given into the hemocoel or the body cavity. Blood gets exchanged, the oxygen and carbon dioxide, whatever exchange has to take place, that happens, and blood again enters the ostia and then comes back to the heart. So in short, the heart of arthropods or lower insects in general is tubular. Coming to the earthworm, you can see that the heart has been marked here. So every earthworm has got 5 hearts, okay, present in the head region, little in the thoracic region, like we can say. So earthworm consists of 5 hearts, okay, which help in flow of blood. Coming to the type of heart in fishes and frogs, okay. So fishes, mainly types of hearts, to know and study about the types of hearts, let us it is mainly done from the vertebrate classes, okay. So the heart of the fish is said to be two chambered. These two chambered, that one is single auricle or the atria and single ventricle, okay. This is how it is. This is ventricle, this is the atrium, okay. Sinus venosus, carries the blood, goes through the capillaries, again here because it is a closed circulatory system, okay. Blood goes oxygenated blood goes through the, okay, it starts from here, I'm sorry. So through the gills, oxygenation takes place, blood goes in this direction, okay, through the capillaries, or rather all parts of the body. Deoxygenated blood comes to the sinus venosus, okay. This is then taken to the atrium, okay. Atrium is the upper chamber which sends the blood to the lower chamber ventricle. From ventricle it goes to conus arteriosus. From there it goes to the gills, okay. So just take a note, it is the conus arteriosus which supplies blood to the gills, deoxygenated blood to the gills. These gills convert deoxygenated blood into oxygenated blood and supply that to all the parts of the body. When the exchange of oxygen with the carbon dioxide takes place, then the deoxygenated blood comes back to the heart through the sinus venosus, okay. This is about the type of circulation in heart in case of fishes. Only two chambered heart. In case of a frog or amphibians, they have three chambered heart. Three chambered heart where two atria, okay, two auricles and one ventricle, okay. So what happens here? Blood oxygenated from the lungs comes to the atria, goes to the ventricles, okay. This blood directly from the ventricles goes to the body parts. Deoxygenated blood comes to the atria, goes to the ventricles, and this goes to the heart. Now you can see that there is mixing of blood that takes place in the ventricles, okay. This mixing of blood, it is not mixing of blood and presence of oxygen and carbon dioxide is not made a major problem in case of amphibians, because not just lung respiration, they have got bukopharyngeal respiration and skin respiration or cuticle respiration, through which they get oxygen. So even they get pure proper oxygen which is not mixed. So even in lungs, if there is mixing of blood that happens in the lung, in the ventricle, and that goes to the lungs, that does not matter much because of two other sources of organs that give pure oxygen to this organism. Okay, coming to the next one, types of heart in reptiles, crocodiles, and birds and mammals. You may wonder why crocodile has been given separately when it is actually a part of, when it is a reptile. Okay, crocodile is an exception when it comes to hearts. Okay, they have completely four chambered heart. Okay, heart of the reptiles, we can see like turtles, snakes, and lizards, they have an incomplete heart, incomplete ventricle, incomplete septum of the ventricle. So they have partially four chambered heart. The crocodiles on the other hand have got proper four chambered heart with auricles and ventricles that are properly separated. Mammals and birds have four chambered hearts. So when we just look back, the fishes have got two chambered heart, frogs have got three chambered heart. Okay, reptiles to most of extent also have three chambered heart with partially separate ventricle. Crocodiles and birds and mammals have all got proper four chambered hearts. Okay, 1 2 3 4 chambered hearts. Coming to the anatomy of human heart. Externally, the human heart is of the size of your fist. Whatever be your body size, okay, you may be tall, hefty, or short and tiny, whatever. The size of your fist, closed fist, is the size of your heart. Okay, so heart is located between the lungs, slightly tilted towards the left. Okay, so this organ is exclusively made up of cardiac muscles. No other organ in the body has got this muscle supply. So it's only cardiac muscle. Why is it so? This is because when we study about skeletal muscle, we'll come to that in locomotion chapter, okay, or in structural organization in animals, but a brief idea I'm sure all of you have. In case of striated muscles, these are elongated muscle cells which have no branches. When it comes to smooth muscles, these are also cells which are arranged, clumped together but are not branched. Cardiac muscles have got branches which regulate, okay, which help in the flow of impulse from one. Even if one cell gets it, it goes and reaches to all the other cells because of the branching. Okay, hence cardiac muscles are branched and they can generate the impulse which is generated, the myogenic, what I told you, the nature of heart is myogenic. So when the impulse is generated, it reaches out to all the cells of this particular muscle, okay, bunch of muscles, hence resulting in beating of the heart. That is, impulse is nothing but this produces kind of small units of shock given, okay, which activate and keep the heart beating. So cardiac muscle, that is a specialty. And another thing, due to continuous supply of blood and continuous supply of the energy that is there, conversion of food into fuel, the conversion of food into energy, continuous supply is there. That care is taken that the heart muscle does not undergo fatigue. It never gets tired though it is continuously working. Like just continuously keep moving your fingers and your palm, okay, more maybe for a minute, for 2 minutes, for 3 minutes, you will be able to do it with the same speed and vigor. But over a period of time, maybe fourth minute, your hands and fingers get tired. This is because they are made up of skeletal or striated muscles and the energy will not be sufficient for them to continue working for a long period of time. Alright, but on the other hand, here, because of the branching, that plays a major role in providing continuous supply of materials and keeping the heart beat going. Okay, externally, let us just The heart is covered by connective tissue sheath called as the pericardium. This is present outside the cardiac muscle. Okay. This particular structure maintains the size and shape of the heart. Inside, cardiac muscles are there. Cardiac muscles have got internal hollow region called as these are nothing but divided into 4 chambers, okay, of the heart, hollow structure. This is the cardiac muscle is only present along the wall of the heart is made up of cardiac muscle. Internally, these are empty regions, okay. Just imagine, like, you have a house which is square in shape, and internally there are 4 rooms, okay. So this is how it is. Next, we have we'll start with the structures. We have the left atrium, left ventricle. Above 2 chambers are the atrium or auricles. The lower 2 chambers are ventricles. Right ventricle. We have the aortic arch, which left pulmonary artery, branches of the pulmonary artery, pulmonary trunk, left pulmonary veins, okay, great cardiac vein, anterior interventricular artery, inferior vena cava, superior vena cava, branches of right pulmonary artery, right pulmonary veins, coronary sulcus, right coronary artery, okay. So these are exterior parts of the human heart. What you can see this blood vessel here on, that is called as the coronary artery. Coronary artery is a blood vessel which arises from the aorta and supplies blood to the heart muscles. As I told you, heart also needs nutrition, gases for its functioning, right? So in order for that to work, we need to the activity here is supplied, the blood there is supplied by the coronary artery. So in case something wrong happens to the coronary artery, the heart muscles are going to suffer. Okay, so the blood reaching of the blood which carry all the nutrients and all is blocked there. Ultimately, the heart functioning stops there. So it's because of the coronary artery that the heart keeps moving, keeps beating. Yeah, internal structure of the human heart. The superior vena cava that opens into the right atrium. Inferior vena cava, just the opening of inferior vena cava which opens into the right atrium. Blood from the right atrium goes down into the right ventricle. There is a valve called as a tricuspid valve, okay, which controls the backflow. The heartbeat, first the contraction of auricle takes place. As a result, blood, it is like you're squeezing the heart. So whatever content is present in it needs to go out somewhere. The only space it has is ventricle. So it comes down. It fills the ventricle. Again, immediately the ventricle contracts. So where is the space for the blood to go? It should not go back to the atrium. So there is this valve. It comes somewhat blocks it. So which is the next empty space available? It is for the right ventricle. It is the pulmonary artery. Okay, so the blood from here goes to the pulmonary artery. From here it goes to the lungs. From lungs, when it comes to the pulmonary veins that opens into the left atrium. Again, when the above atria contract, blood from here goes down, from here comes here. Okay, from the left ventricle, when again the contraction takes place, the blood from left ventricle now goes to the aorta. At the same time, blood from right ventricle goes to the pulmonary artery. So this movement of blood, when this entire above atria contract, blood goes down to the ground floor, and when the ground floor contracts, the blood goes to another channel, okay, which is of the pulmonary artery and the aorta. From aorta, the blood flows to all the parts of the body. So we have aortic valve present near the aorta and left ventricle. We have the pulmonary valve present near the pulmonary vein and right ventricle. We have the tricuspid valve present. These are also called as semilunar valves, okay, the pulmonary valve and aortic valve or semilunar valves. Tricuspid valve is present between the right side of the right side chambers. Mitral valve, or also called as the bicuspid valve that is present between on the left side. All right. Yeah. So just have a look. I'll just erase. I want you to go through this diagram. It's important. The internal parts. Yeah. I hope this is clear. Let's go ahead. Structure of the cardiac muscle cells. This allows propagation of stimuli through the heart wall. Okay, so how exactly does that happen? Yeah, so structure of the wall, as I told you, section of it is taken here. Look at this. The endocardium, the internal part of the heart. Epicardium is the outer part of the heart. These are the cardiac muscles. Okay, part of it is exhibited here. It's called as the myocardium. Myocardial heart structure. Okay, these are the gap junctions through which there is flow of or transport of elements, materials that takes place. Junction is nothing but the joining, the points where things are joined. So myocardial heart cells are interlocking or intercalated, giving myocardium its properties. Okay, properties as in properties of being, of not undergoing fatigue, of conducting impulses, all those properties. Okay, comes because of these gap junctions and the connectivities that they have. Gap junctions form channels between adjacent heart cells. Channels allow for depolarization, that is stimuli, passing of the electric stimuli to flow from one heart cell to the other. Therefore, transmission of flow is quicker and coordinated throughout the heart. As told to you, because of the myogenic property, this particular activity takes place. Just go through this structure for a few seconds. Read the points as well. Next, signals from the sinoatrial node that cause contraction cannot pass directly from atria to ventricles. Now let's see what exactly this is. Coming to this structure called as the pacemaker. Okay, just have a look here. There is a structure called as the sinoatrial node located on the top right corner or left corner, right corner of the atria, right atrium. This is nothing but specialized group of cells of the cardiac muscles that have the capacity to generate nerve impulses. Okay, so whatever nerve impulses are generated, that flows through the wall of the heart, and it has a capacity to resonate through the upper chamber. When it comes close, when it goes, as in now it goes away from the SAN or the pacemaker, the waves reduce in their effect. But they are enough. These weaker waves or impulses are sufficient enough to activate the next set of nerve cells that are called as the AVN, atrioventricular node. From here, the impulses are again regenerated and those are transmitted through the ventricles. That's the reason when SAN first sends the contraction, okay, the impulse, the atria contracts. This wave reaches the AVN, then the AVN contracts. That's why the contraction is alternate. Okay, it's the auricles, then ventricles. Auricle, ventricle, lub, dub, lub, dub. That is how it takes place. Okay, so let's just look at the parts. The SAN is present here. Electric wave passes over the atria. Okay, the white line that I've drawn. Atrioventricular node is present here. Okay, which is at the base of the right atrium. Okay, so the non-conducting fibrous layer between the atria and the ventricles, the green region that has been shown here. Okay, they are made of dense connective tissue, electrically non-conductive, stops electrical signals between atria and ventricles. Okay, so look at the semilunar valves. This is the right atrioventricular valve, left atrioventricular valve. These semilunar valves are of the pulmonary artery and aorta. Okay, this is the tricuspid valve. You can see 1, 2, 3 valves. This is the bicuspid valve or the mitral valve. This is how it looks when you look from the above. There is a delay between the arrival and passing of the stimulus in the atrioventricular node. Okay, so what happens? Look at this diagram here. SAN sends the impulses, but 0.9 seconds delay of stimulus takes place in the AV node. So SAN node, whatever the blue part, light blue region, is the impulse covered in the auricles. Next, it is received by the AVN. Okay, because of the presence of non-conductive layer, there is a delay. Okay, as a result of few gap junctions between heart cells that make up AV node tissue, smaller diameter size of conducting fibers in the AV node. These are the reasons why there is delay of 0.9 seconds in passing of stimulus at the AV node. Alright, so remember, SAN generates the nerve impulse which result in the contraction or systole of the atria. Okay, immediately the diastole takes place. Diastole is a relaxation. Next, the impulse is received by the AVN, which then conducts the impulses through the Purkinje fibers. Okay, there is bundle of His present here, and then that branches into Purkinje fibers in the lower region of the ventricles to reach out to entire ventricle region, and that contraction happens that results in the systole of the ventricles. I hope this point is clear. Just have a look at this slide for a few seconds. Let's go ahead. Yeah, this delay allows for atrial systole before the atrioventricular valves close. Okay, so what happens? Because the delay is there, okay, of 0.9 seconds, the atrioventricular valves can close. Delay of stimulus at AV node allows for completion of atrial systole, ensures complete filling of ventricles before ventricular systole, and increases the efficiency of the pumping action of the heart. Okay, so just have a look here. So SAN node, it sends impulses here. Bundle of His, bundle branches, Purkinje fibers, atrium. This is the difference. Atrium contracts. Okay. Finally, the impulse reaches to all these parts, and then there is peak. Peak is nothing but the contraction, ventricular systole. Okay. Conducting fibers ensure coordinated contraction of the entire ventricle wall. Okay, just pay attention here. Coordinated rhythmic ventricular contractions require adequate propagation of electrical stimuli along the conduction pathway of the heart, including splitting of conducting fibers into right and left bundle branches or His bundle of His. Okay. Purkinje fibers are larger with fewer myofibrils that allow for quicker conduction along the ventricles. Okay. AV node stops atrial fibrillations from being conducted into ventricles at dangerously high rates. Okay, that's the reason. Ventricular fibrillation can lead to cardiac arrest. So that by natural means is controlled because of the delay that happens at the AV node. Alright. What is this artificial pacemaker? Sometimes, for some reasons, the natural activity of SAN is arrested. Okay. So what can be done in that way? Artificial pacemaker. Somebody has to be there to activate the role of beating of the heart, the generation of myogenic activity. So that is done by artificial pacemakers. Let's just have a look how that happens. Use of artificial pacemakers to regulate the heart rate. Pacemakers can be permanent or temporary. Pacemakers are small devices placed in the chest abdomen, or heart to help control the abnormal heart rhythms. Uses electrical, artificial pacemakers. They use electrical pulses to promote the heart to beat at a normal rate. They are used to treat, okay, arrhythmiasis, okay, which is nothing but abnormal heart rate, which are problems with the rate, which is too fast or too slow, or irregular rhythms. During arrhythmia, the heart may not be able to pump enough blood into the body. Imagine if it is just closing and opening at a fast rate. Blood does not get chance to fill into the ventricles or auricles. Insufficient amount of blood reaches the body, okay, resulting in various other associated problems. Okay. So, lastly, faulty electrical signaling causes arrhythmiasis. Arrhythmiasis. Coming to the next part, that is the ECG, electrocardiogram. This particular device, electrocardiogram, helps in measuring the heart rate. Okay, is the heart if the heart is beating at normal pace or not? Is it slow? Is it fast? Okay, ECG generally is a clear. It gives us a clear idea of the cardiac activity. Alright, so let's just have a look how this happens. ECG is with regular heart rhythm. Okay, you can see that during every 2 seconds there are 3 contractions. Okay. Yeah. So regular heart rhythm using ECG above shows us that heart rate is 300 divided by the number of large squares between QRS complexes. Okay. 4 large squares between regular QRS complexes, heart rate is 300 divided by 4 is 75. On an average, normal heartbeat is 72 to 75 heartbeats per minute. Okay. If this is not maintained, what happens? Irregular heart rhythm. Count the number of R waves in a 6-second strip. Multiply by 10. Okay. 7 R waves in 6-second strip is equal to 70, which is less. Okay. So calculation part and all that is not really required for your level, but as medical students further you will get to study about how to analyze the these are all analytical techniques, diagnostic techniques that help you arrive at a conclusion as to what is wrong with the heart. Alright. Heart sounds, the lub-dub sounds that are produced by the heart. What exactly causes that sound? So normal heart sounds are caused by atrioventricular valves and semilunar valves closing, which results in the blood flow. So it's these valves that open and close. You just open, hold your fist round, and with your palm make noise. Okay, just try to flap it. The sound appears. Okay, just by beating randomly, the heartbeat does not cause the sound. It is the closing and opening of the valves that results in the lub-dub sound formation. Alright. So pressure, the left ventricle, blood from left ventricle goes to the aorta. Atrioventricular valves close, resulting in lub sound. Okay. So this is important. It is the atrioventricular valve that cause lub sound. When blood goes from when blood comes from aorta to from left ventricle to aorta, semilunar valves close. Okay, dub sound is heard. Okay, so it is, just remember that lub sound is created by atrioventricular valves and dub sound is created by semilunar valves. All right. Yeah, so this graph represents pressure in the left ventricle, pressure in the aorta. There is more pressure in the aorta when compared to the pressure in the left ventricle. Heart rate and pulse rate. What are these? Heart rate is the speed of the heartbeat measured by the number of contractions of the heart per minute. The heart rate can vary according to the body's physical needs. Okay, when we are into high physical activity, the rate of heart increases. Okay, that's the reason we start panting, we start sweating. Okay, not just that, when you're afraid of something, or when you're excited about something, anxiety is there, there is fear. So all of these physical phenomena, internal, intellectual emotions also result in increasing of the heartbeat, or rather differing heart rate. What is pulse rate? Pulse rate is the number of times the blood flows from the capillaries that are caused due to contractions in a minute. A pulse rate can be accurately measured from a earlobe. Okay, you just have to hold the palm. Okay, as told, as shown in the figure here. This is where the pulse is felt. Alright. Cardiac output. Next important concept is the cardiac output. These are all the concept related to in the first slide, as it was shown in the previous session. The importance of heart mechanisms, heart related calculations. Cardiac output is one of them. Okay, so cardiac output is defined as the amount of blood pumped out of each ventricle per minute. Okay, so cardiac output is expressed in two forms. One is the stroke volume and the minute volume. Okay, this way. Once again, just have a look at the definition. So factors affecting the cardiac output. Factors affecting heart rate. It can be autonomic innervation, hormones, fitness levels, and age. So because of these four factors, heart rate can differ. Next, factors affecting stroke volume. Size of the heart, fitness levels, the gender, contractility, duration of contraction, preload or afterload. These factors affect the stroke volume. Now, considering these two parameters, the heart rate and stroke volume, okay, we can come to conclusion that cardiac output is a product of heart rate and stroke volume. Okay. Yeah, just look at this. Let's just read what is given here. Cardiac output, to find the volume of blood pumped by each ventricle per minute. So, cardiac output is heart rate into stroke volume. Cardiac output equals heart rate multiplied by stroke volume. So, control of heart rate. Sinus SA node is innervated by autonomic nervous system. Activity in parasympathetic nerves releases ACH. Okay, it's acetylcholine, which loses sodium channels. Okay, which closes the sodium channels and decreases the slope of pacemaker potential, causing the heart rate to decrease. Okay, so what happens here? We'll just read it again. Activity in the parasympathetic nerve releases acetylcholine. This is a neurotransmitter. This neurotransmitter is generated in the presence in any kind of emotional situation, like I said, fear, anxiety, etc. What that does is it closes the sodium channels, decreases the slope of pacemaker potential, resulting in decrease of heart rate. Okay. Activity in sympathetic nerves releases norepinephrine, okay, which is released from the adrenal gland. This opens the sodium channels, okay, and increases the heart rate. So when when sodium channels are open, the heart rate increases. When sodium channels are closed, the heart rate decreases. And this closing and opening of sodium channels are controlled by the neurotransmitters such as acetylcholine and norepinephrine. Now, control of stroke volume. A more forcible contraction of ventricle can cause a greater emptying of ventricle, thus increasing the stroke volume. Okay, so it all depends on the contraction of the ventricle. If the contraction is more, okay, then the blood is emptied more. Okay, it's like you're squeezing the ventricle more. So when the ventricle is contracted or squeezed, the blood that is present in the chamber of it completely moves out, right? So that depends on the contraction. EDV and SV. Okay, so in the previous slide we saw what EDV is. EDV is preload, afterload. It is got stroke volume and EDV. So Frank-Starling mechanism. The greater the EDV, it means a greater stretching of the ventricular muscles. This also means producing a more forceful contraction. So cardiac muscle is normally not at its optimal length. Thus, additional stretching increases the force of contraction. In some, which basoemi, as the end systole volume decreases, the overall stroke volume increases. Sympathetic nerves release norepinephrine, which can increase myocardial contractility by increasing calcium infusion. Alright, so I just take a minute and read this slide. EDV is end diastolic volume and stroke volume, SV. Please read that. Next one. Atrial and venous systems. Pulmonary artery, just look at this. It gives you an insight of how the arteries are, network of arteries or the branching of arteries are there in the body, and the veins. Okay, so they run parallelly to each other, they run along each other. Okay, just have a look at this. Pulmonary artery. Okay, let's start from the lungs. Okay, the lungs receive through the pulmonary veins oxygenated blood. 100% oxygenated blood is released. It goes to the left atrium, then goes to the left ventricle, then 3% of it goes to the heart muscle. Oxygenated blood goes to the heart muscle. 5% to the bones, 6% to the skin, 14% to the brain, 15% to the skeletal muscle, 22% to the kidneys, and 21% to the gastrointestinal system and spleen, 6% to the liver and other organs, 8% to the other organs. From all of these structures, similar amount of, just see the connection here. There is a small difference. Like you see, 3% of blood from arteries is used and goes to the veins. Same 5 from the bones back to the veins, 5%. 6% from the skin back to the veins, 14% from brain back to the venous system, 15 from the skeletal muscle, 22 from the kidneys, but gastrointestinal and spleen system blood goes to the liver. So what you see here is the portal system. Okay, this is the portal system. So what is it? Okay, along with 21 from the GIT, that is a gastrointestinal tract and spleen, 6% from the liver, together 27% joins the venous system, and other 8% goes as it is. Alright, so this is what is the arterial and the venous systems. Moving on to the next one, the important concept, that is the double circulation. Alright, so double circulation is, the term is given with respect to the circulation of blood visiting the heart twice. Okay, just consider 1 ml of blood moving. Suppose here 1 ml of blood is there. This same blood moves to all the parts of the body and comes back to the heart. Same blood goes from the heart to the lungs and comes back to the heart. So blood, okay, is going to visit heart twice. Once through it is going to travel the pulmonary circulation. Second time it is going to travel the systemic circulation. Okay, hence completing 2 circuits, making it a double circulation. In one circulation, the oxygenated blood is brought to the heart. In the second circulation, deoxygenated blood is brought to the heart. Just have a look at this one. So pulmonary circuit, which includes heart and lungs, which is a short circuit. Okay, so here oxygen is low, carbon dioxide is high while receiving at the lungs. Okay, on the other hand, it is oxygen is high, CO2 is low in the systemic circulation when it is going to all the parts of the body. Alright, so double circulation is actually very simple to understand, and hence it has been given important weightage, okay, in the chapter. Yeah, portal systems. Portal systems. What are these portal systems? I just mentioned in the previous slide here. There's something called a connection between the gastrointestinal system and the liver. Okay, so what is that? We shall have a look at it here. So the definition says a portal system is an arrangement by which blood collected from one set of capillaries passes through a large vessel or vessels to another set of capillaries before returning into the systemic circulation. Just read the definition again. I'll read it for you. A portal system is an arrangement by which blood collected from one set, okay, of capillaries passes through a large vessel to another set of capillaries before it joins the systemic circulation. Okay, same as it is seen here. Look at this. The blood that is collected, okay, before it reaches the actual systemic circulation, it moves from one part to another through another set of blood capillaries. Okay, so this is what is a portal system. It is also called as localized circulation. Alright, so just have a look here. There are 3 important types of portal systems. One is the hepatic portal system. Hepatic portal system, wherein the these gastrointestinal organs like the intestine, the spleen, okay, the pancreas, all of these, their connections, the blue color what you see is given into the liver, and finally the liver connects to the systemic circulation. Okay, these are not connected to the systemic circulation. All of these contents they join the portal vein as mentioned here. It joins a large vessel or vein, okay, to reach to another organ. From there it goes somewhere, it goes to the systemic circulation. Alright, so it's like you're taking a bypass going to another city and then joining back the national highway, somewhat like that. Right? Yeah, I'm sorry, you're not taking the bypass, you're getting into a city, joining some other area and then going back to the national highway. Another type of hepatic portal system is the hypophyseal portal system, which is with respect to the hypothalamus and the pituitary. Okay, so this connection you can see here, the pituitary pours its secretions to the the hypothalamus gives its secretions into the pituitary through the hypophyseal portal system. Okay, next is the renal portal system. First one is the femoral vein, which is in the femur, then the sciatic vein, pelvic vein, okay, external iliac vein, renal portal vein, Renal portal vein is sixth one is the renal portal vein, dorsal lumbar vein, the kidney. So all these parts individually, their blood supply is given to the renal portal system. Finally, this is connected to another, to the systemic circulation. Okay, so all these other parts pour their secretions into the renal portal system, not to the systemic circulation. So it is somewhat an indirect way of collecting blood. Coming to the next concept, that is blood pressure. Blood pressure, normal range of blood pressure is supposed to be 120 by 80. So what is it that is 120? What is it that is 80? We shall just have a look here. Normal is systolic. The upper one should be systolic, contraction, which the lower one is diastolic, relaxation. Okay. So systolic should be less than 120. Diastolic should be less than 80. This is normal. Okay. Elevated is when the systole is more, diastole is less. High blood pressure, it is more than 130 or less than 80 to 180. High blood pressure, which is also called as hypertension stage 2, it is beyond 140. Okay, here 90 or higher. Hypertensive crisis, okay, wherein it's higher than 180, which is like way too higher than a normal human should have. And here this diastole is 120. So the pressure exerted, this is mm by Hg, the measurement is given. The units are mm Hg. Hemoglobin, the sphygmomanometer, which measures the blood pressure, that gives us the measuring unit as mm of Hg. Mercury is included there. Next one, how to measure blood pressure? Okay, blood pressure is most of us have had an idea that we are aware of an instrument called a sphygmomanometer, which has a velcro cloth or extended material made up of flexible extended cloth like material that is used to flap and cover your arm region. Okay, palpitation is checked near the fist, the pulse rate. Okay, and with the help of stethoscope, okay, the heartbeat is, even the blood flow is checked here, called as auscultation. Okay, the sounds are measured. Inflating bulb is there in order to increase the pressure, to generate the pressure there, to see how much amount of blood is flowing and at what pressure. Okay, what is systolic and diastolic pressure? Pressure exerted when blood is injected into the arteries is called as systolic pressure. Also, normal systole blood pressure is 120 mm of Hg or below. Diastolic blood pressure is the pressure blood exerts within the arteries between the heartbeats. Okay. Normal diastole blood pressure is 180 mm of Hg or below. Okay. Next, factors affecting the blood pressure. So I said various physical factors, internal and external factors affect the blood pressure, and that may vary. Alright. So one of those factors is demographic. Demographic is with respect to the area, the age, the area, age, gender, race, body mass index. Okay, that is going to be different. Now a person living in Africa or America can have normal different range of blood pressure when compared to a person living in India. Okay. Next, physiological condition, the BP level, baroreceptor sensitivity, sympathetic nervous activity, angiotensin 2, aldosterone, natriuretic peptide. These are all the hormones that control, that regulate blood pressure. Behavioral, physical and mental activity, body posture and exercise. These things also result in varying blood pressure. When you are into high physical activity, there are chances of your blood pressure being a little on the higher side, which will come back to normal when the body comes back to its normal condition. Normal heart rate comes back to normal, breathing rate comes back to normal. That is when the blood pressure also comes back to normal. Environmental, such as the salt diet, smoking, alcohol, they also affect the blood pressure. Okay. Comorbid conditions such as the primary and secondary hypertension, diabetes, chronic kidney disease, cardiovascular disease, stroke, autonomic neuropathy, all these things already existing underlying health conditions, if they are there existing, that can also result in varying blood pressure. You can normally see a person who is diabetic, mostly in 100 people, around 40 to 50 people who are diabetic are diagnosed or also treated for blood pressure. So all these are interrelated. Alright. Coming to the cardiovascular disorders. Okay. Hypertensive heart disease refers to the heart conditions caused by high blood pressure. Already mentioned in the previous slide. High blood pressure affects the heart, resulting in hypertensive heart. The heart working under increased pressure causes some different heart disorders. Hypertensive heart disease includes heart failure, thickening of the heart muscle, coronary heart disease, and other conditions. So just see how much blood pressure plays an important role. Okay. Rheumatic heart disease is caused by rheumatic fever. Okay. It's an inflammatory disease that can affect many connective tissues, especially in the heart, joints, skin, or the brain. The heart valves can be inflamed and become scarred over time, gradually reducing the efficiency of the heart. Tachycardia is a medical term for heart rate over 100 beats per minute. What did we see was a normal heart rate? Per minute, heart should beat from 72 to 75 times per minute. In case that increases beyond 100 or above 100, that condition is not normal and it is called tachycardia. There are many heart rhythm disorders, okay, that can cause tachycardia. Sometimes it's normal for you to have a fast heartbeat. As it, like I told you, when you're into high physical activity or highly excited or anxious about something, that's when normally the heart rate increases. The reasons for that are different. There are different neurotransmitters that make this condition happen. But in case over a prolonged period of time, if the heart rate stays above 100 beats per minute, then the condition is called tachycardia. Coming to another heart disorder called as the coronary heart disease. Okay, coronary heart disease is the condition where the coronary artery is affected. As mentioned in the previous slides, coronary artery is the artery which branches from the aorta. It supplies oxygen, nutrients, and all the essential elements for the functioning of the human heart muscle. Okay, to keep the heart beating, it is a supply given by the blood, oxygenated blood and all is given by the aorta, that is through the coronary artery. Something wrong that happens to the coronary artery, the heart muscle is affected. Okay, what that happens to? Let's just have a look. Coronary artery disease, also called as CAD, okay, is caused by plaque buildup in the walls of the arteries that supply blood to the heart. Okay, plaque is made up of cholesterol deposits. Plaque buildup causes the inside of the arteries to narrow over time. This process is called atherosclerosis. Okay, remember, atherosclerosis is what? It is a plaque buildup inside. You can have a look at this slide here. This condition is called atherosclerosis. This is a normal artery. This is fat deposition. That's the reason they say you should not be consuming fat food that is high in oils. There are different types of oils that come these days. Refined oils are really not very healthy. Okay, so whatever amount of oil you consume, fried items, those should all be reduced, because that is how they go and accumulate. In case, okay, you're free to eat whatever you like, but you need to exercise so that whatever is extra content is there in the food in the form of fat or stored carbohydrate, they are used by the body. If the body uses it, okay, then there are no other underlying problems that are caused. All right, yeah, so this is another example. Look at this here. This is the blood coronary artery, the normal version. This is gradually deteriorating version, plaque formation. This is the one where complete blockage takes place. If this gets blocked, how will the blood reach to all the parts of, the muscles of the heart? That will stop, and completely the contraction and relaxation of the heart, beating of the heart stops, ultimately resulting in the myocardial infarction. Stroke. We are studying cardiovascular diseases. Vascular refers to any condition which also includes the blood vessels. Okay, so stroke is one such a disorder where the blood vessels are going to clot. One such we saw was thrombosis. Okay, so blood vessels, when they are blocked, that obstructs the flow of blood that reaches to various organs. And when there is no supply of blood, in this recent corona times, we also happen to see that various transport systems were blocked. Okay, intercity traveling, interstate traveling were all stopped. So any materials, with respect to let us say daily household things like groceries and all, when those were blocked, many people here could not get proper access to grocery items. All right, so that most of the places did have access, somehow things were care was taken that it reaches to them, but also there were equally other regions where such a contact or transport was cut. All right, so that is what happens here when the normal pathway that carries all the essential nutrients, gases and waste materials, when that is not happening, the result is going to be the resultant condition is called as the stroke. Just have a look here. The blood clot lodges in the cerebral artery, causing the stroke. Look at this block, right? Blood clot breaks off and travels. This clot can go to other parts of the body, okay, resulting in the blockage. Diseased carotid artery. Carotid artery is the artery which supplies blood to the neck and the face and the head region. Carotid artery is present in the neck region, which supplies blood to the parts above. Normal carotid artery, okay, the order should have been from this side. Let's look at that once again. Normal carotid artery is the artery which supplies blood, carries oxygenated blood from the heart to the neck region and the face, head, brain and all the parts located there. Diseased carotid artery, where there is plaque formation, okay, blood clot breaks off and travels, results in the smaller, here it is bigger one. Whatever breaks, the particles of those will go and settle somewhere else. So blood clot lodges in cerebral artery, causing the stroke. Stroke is loss of blood supply to the brain. Lymphatic system. This is another circulatory system which is not which is actually equally important, but not as widespread as the the network is not as dense as the blood network, vascular network, but it is equally important. However lesser it is, it does play an important role. Have a look here. This includes the lymphatic arrangement, where you find lymph nodes around here and there. Nodes are enlarged structures where the lymph fluid is present or stored. You can see the green bulges here at frequent intervals. They are called as the lymphatic nodes. Lymphatic nodes, they travel through the lymph vessels. Okay, and there are various lymph organs that are attached, that are associated with this entire system. Let us see what are the types of lymph organs, lymphatic organs. Tonsils are one, thymus gland is one, we have lymph nodes, lymphatic vessels is already mentioned here. Liver also plays a role as a lymphatic system. Spleen is a major lymphatic organ. Peyer's patches in the small intestine are lymphatic in nature. Appendix, which does not have a major role to play as such, but yes, it is a lymphatic organ. And the bone marrow. Okay, these lymphatic organs are the reservoirs of WBCs. Okay, so these WBCs, mainly the lymphatic system helps stores WBCs and is active during the diseased during any kind of diseased condition in the body. Lymphatic system carries colorless fluid called as a lymph, which is without RBCs. RBCs are absent in lymph, but there are abundant amount of WBCs present, even more 3 to 4 times more than what the blood contains. Okay, along with that there is water, there are other inorganic salts. Okay, so these contents make up the lymph. Just have a look at the different lymph organs again: tonsils, thymus, liver, spleen, Peyer's patches in the small intestine, bone marrow, and the appendix. Okay, so with this we shall conclude the synopsis and understanding of the body fluids and circulation chapter. In the next session we shall go through the questionnaire of this chapter and try to cover most of the questions that are covered in recent NEET exams pertaining to this chapter, and try to see how much of it we will be able to solve. Okay, by saying so, I would like to take leave from this session. Thank you very much. See you in the next session.